Ce monsieur que j'ai rencontré récemment, que vous aimez beaucoup, et dont la route qu'il suit débouche sur des horizons de plus en plus radieux. Vous étiez déjà venu à Bruxelles?
Pardon?
Vous étiez déjà venu à Bruxelles?
Travailler?
Non, non, en visite.
Ah, visite, oui.
Vous aimez la ville?
It's beautiful. Beautiful, très beau.
Je crois que vous voyagez beaucoup, hein?
Ah, trop.
Est-ce qu'il y a des pays que vous aimez particulièrement, des régions?
I didn't understand.
Are there some countries you like more than others?
Yes. I like quiet countries.
But this is not really the country, that's under the country, you see.
We don't have this in London, these nice tunnels. They're beautiful.
But you have the subway,
The underground, yes. Trains. Impossible to travel on.
When did you make cinema for the first time?
First time I made cinema, 1948, the first film I appeared in. A critic.
A tragic?
Un critique. No, 48 I made my first film. But then I didn't do any more because I was no good until 1953 I went to America and I signed a contract with MGM and I stayed in America on and off until 1961. I usually stay at a place 2 years, then they find out about me and so I leave. And I left MGM and I joined Columbia. And I made a series for Columbia, Ivano. Then signed a contract with Warner Brothers. And I made a few films there and a couple of series. One was a Western, which I hated. And then I went to Italy, having read a lot of scripts that had been sent to me from Italy. I found one that I thought was very funny, a very funny comedy. And I went to Italy and I started filming. And after the first day, I found out that the director thought it was a drama, not a comedy. So I wasn't very happy with that film. I made another one and then I was offered The Saint, which I tried to buy 10 years before when I was doing Ivanhoe. I tried to buy the rights, but at that time Leslie Charteris wasn't interested in selling. I thought it would last for 6 months. And I thought that because my agent came out to Venice to discuss it with me, and they sent me a script, and I thought, this is long. I thought it was going to be a half-hour series, 26 half hours, which would take 6 months. So I was prepared to do it. And I read the script and I said, this is a little long. Would you check with London to make sure it's not an hour series? So he checked with London and with somebody else in the agency and they said, oh no, it's half hour. So on that basis, I signed the contract then. There was a formal press announcement and a press luncheon. And I was with Lou Grade, who was discussing it with the press. And he said, we're going to make 26-hour shows. I said, half-hour shows. He said, 26-hour shows. I said, half-hour. And I got hold of somebody. I took them one side. I said, what's he talking about, hour? And they said, oh, it's an hour show. So I thought, all right, instead of 6 months, it's a year. And instead, it's been 5 or 6 years now I've been doing it. That's the sad story of my cinematic career.
Now that there are so many years you are Simon Templar, do you still like this man?
He's kept me in good clothes, good food, good company. Of course I like him.
Yes?
You know, people say do you dislike being associated with the character all the time? Do people call it? Not everybody says Simon Templar, Simon Templar. One is fortunate enough to be able to do other things. You know, I'm at the moment preparing other films, and then I will do a few more Saints, so that all the time I'm changing. You know, I'm not always Simon Templar. In that way, one doesn't get bored with the character. The problem, why I liked the Saint, the reason I wanted to buy him in the first place, buy the rights, was that for television, he had all the inbuilt traits of a slightly off-color hero, which you cannot show in television. For instance, the real Simon Templar is a thief, the modern Robin Hood. You can't show me stealing unless I give the money back. We never show in the television how I live, where do I get my money from. We just hope that the people have already some idea of what the character was in the books. And so he is a man with a past which always makes a leading man more interesting.
Vous êtes né à Londres, you were born in London.
Yes, indeed.
Were your parents also in the show business?
No, I had an aunt who was an operatic singer, but my father was not. He was in the police.
The police? Oh. It was the beginning of the inquest of Simon Templar.
The beginning of crime. No, he was an honest policeman.
But you began with theatre, I think.
Yes, I went to the normal Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, normal way of starting in England. And then I worked in the theatre, and then I joined the army. And towards the end of my career in the army in Germany, I joined an entertainment unit, and I had 6 months actually of acting, which was good before, for preparing for coming out. Then when I came out of the army, I thought, well, at least I'm going to be Stuart Granger. I have to be Stuart Granger, and of course I was wrong for every film that I went for. And in the end, I never used to go to the studios. They'd say, my agent would say, we want you to go to Pinewood Studios, or we want to go to Denham Studios. And I'd go, they say, you're too thin, you're too fat, you can't act, or something. And so I always thought that I was not right for films. I made this one film in 48, which I think I worked for 30 days, and I said, good show, that's all through the film. And so when I went to America, and I appeared on television there, and I was offered contract by MGM, by Warner Brothers, by Columbia, by Fox, and by Paramount, all in the same day. And I thought they were joking. And so I played it very cool, and I said, well, I want this and I want that. And I actually went back to England again to do a play, not thinking that anything would happen. But MGM took up an option that I'd signed with them. And I went back to make my first film, which was with Liz Taylor and Van Johnson.
And now you're also a director for some productions.
Yes, when I came out of the army, I felt that I would rather direct than act. And I worked, at that time we had no independent television in England, it was only the BBC. And I took a 6 months piece out of my acting life to work at the BBC as a stage manager and studio manager, floor manager, to learn direction. But at that time nobody was likely to let me direct, so I went back to acting again. And then the time came when I could say, to the producers that I would particularly like to direct something, and because of the fact that they needed me for that particular thing, they said, all right, we'll let him have his way. They didn't trust me, they thought that I wouldn't be very good. But I have really no conceit about any talent, except, as an actor I think I'm lousy, but as a director I enjoy my work, I really do. I would love just to direct. But I've never been able to direct anything without myself being in it, which is twice as hard, because it's easy in one way because I don't argue with myself. I always argue with directors. They say, we want you to go there. I say, why? They say, because you're getting paid, that's why.
What do you like most in life?
Most in life? Oh, I think children, home, quiet. I like to paint. In the quiet, I like to sit in the sun. I like to swim. I play a very bad guitar. Things I would like to do in life, I would love to be a singer. I would love to be able to sing. What are you smoking, sir?
Why don't you try to sing?
Why don't I try to sing?
Yes.
Because I don't have any voice for singing.
Why don't you try for the first time now? Hmm? Would be an exclusivity, no?
It would be an exclusive disaster. No, I can't sing. Because one is in television, the record companies come to you and they say, why don't you make a disc? And they say, listen what we can do with these people, you know, we can make fantastic voices. But I think it's wrong, you know, one is changing the image of what you are. You know, I am an actor and I play heroes. And it's wrong that I should sing. You know, it just doesn't go with me. Although I would love to be a singer, you know, if I could sing, I would love to sing opera. It'd be absolutely marvelous.
And during all these fights, are there never some accidents?
Accidents all the time. I think probably the most disastrous accident I've ever had are with horses. Because I like horses, but they don't like me. I don't know why, I'm always very nice to them. I always give them sugar and I carry mints for them and give them that. But when I was doing a series called Ivanhoe, in one day, first of all, I ride into a little clearing from the forest, and we're shooting this in December and the ground's very hard when you come off, and I always come off. And about 20 villains attacked me, and one comes charging in with a sword. And he took my nail straight off. So we stopped and they put a plaster, an elastoplaster around it. And then they started again, and immediately they cut the plaster off my finger. So I go back, I say, we do it one more time, you know, otherwise I've had it. Then the cinch of the saddle went, and I went under the horse. Now there are 20 horses and they're all jumping up and down on me. And everybody's screaming, Ivanhoe, Ivanhoe, you know, they're all waving us. And I'm under the horse, I'm screaming, help, help, let me out. So they said, where's Ivanhoe? They said, he's under the horse. And I got up, and so I'm going home. The director said, why, it's only 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I said, you find another actor, you know, I've had it. Then another time with horses, I was making a film with Lana Turner called Diane, in which I played Henri II. And she was Diane de Poitiers. And I had to lead a parade of horses out of an arena. And they'd made a suit of armor for me, which was solid metal. And the gloves were made of metal, and they wouldn't bend. So when I started at a gallop out, and I started to rein in the horse, the reins, which were Western reins, and they divide, went straight through my fingers, and I had nothing to grip with. And I knew I was coming off the horse, so I got my feet, which were 7 pieces of metal anyway, out of the stirrups. And I'm trying to hold with my knees, but I've got metal on. You can't feel the horse, you have no contact. So we're doing about 35 miles an hour, and the horse went right, I went left, and I ended up in a pile of steps. I spent 2 days packed in ice in a hospital in Los Angeles. And I went back, I finished the picture. I suppose all the time, every time we have a fight, which I enjoy, and I enjoy doing the fights. But accidents happen.
That's a nice job.
I'm accident prone, but so far I haven't broken my nose. I've broken a couple of ribs from time to time. I've broken a wrist. And the lovely thing is that the insurance company says, oh, he cannot go skiing. I can't indulge in winter sports. He mustn't ride horses in private, but I do all these ridiculous things for films, and I'm always getting knocked about. But there we are, that's life, it pays well.
Do you like jokes and games?
Doesn't everybody? You want to play games with me here in the forest? I tell you one, with a pen. Give me a 2-figure number.
21.
21. And a subject?
A subject. Me.
You?
Me. Perhaps it's not a good subject.
We'll see how it comes out.
Aha. Ce qui est terrible, c'est que je me reconnais.